Hey guys, I'm Kevin Hill. Today we're doing something fun and different. I'm going to be interviewing Donna Dewberry, who you probably have seen on either PBS or here online. So Donna, how's it going today?
Fine. I'm thrilled to be here with you, Kevin.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming. We were talking a few minutes before we started recording here about just what you've been up to. It sounds like you've been going crazy online, doing a lot of interesting things. I definitely want to get to that. But before we do, for the people who don't know who you are, would you just give them a little bit of background, like go back into the old PBS days and I think QVC, right?
Right, right. So I started on QVC doing a few little how-tos and with Plaid with the paint company. And Carol Smith is the one, if y'all ever saw Carol Smith with Gallery Glass, she's the one who got me going. But when we're doing, usually you go to PBS and then you get advantage of being able to go on QVC. But we kind of did that backwards. So it was a fun opportunity to go to PBS, and I didn't realize how it would change my world because it put me across the nation, and we raised over $13 million for PBS in the first year, and it was kind of crazy because it's a different type of audience. And anyway, that's how I got started with my online and on the shopping channel. And actually, Plaid found me, Kevin, in Orlando at a little painting extravaganza. And I had never gone to a show in my entire life, a painting show, kind of like you when you came
Mm-hmm.
to
Yep.
Vegas when I met you the first time. You were such a young man at that point. And it was like, it was good seeing you like that because it was like you were eager
Mm-hmm.
to meeting me, introducing me to your mom and
Yep.
dad. It was so fun. And then I remember you coming to Vegas and introducing me to your fiance, who then became your wife.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Almost 10 years ago. It was like this is over
really.
9 years ago. Yep.
Really,
Mm-hmm.
wow. And look at how you've grown, Kevin. It's like amazing, you know. And I remember your dad was filming you.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, I just felt honored that I got to help somebody. Just I went around. Do you remember I introduced you to a few
I
different companies
do.
that were
Yeah,
there?
yeah. That was
Uh,
awesome.
but you know what happened with me, Kevin, is that COVID hit. And I just, so I couldn't travel, couldn't do anything. And I was going crazy sitting at home. And I set up a studio on my dining room table. And I just thought, I'm going to go for free and get my friends to come on with me. And I had done a little bit of YouTube, just a little bit with my grandson. And so I just started saying, "Hey, come online with me." Told my local painting class, but they were so funny. There's a few older women, and I would they be yelled at by them because they'd go, "You're off the camera." They would scream at me and I would jump and I go, "You don't have to yell at
Oh
me,"
no.
but it was a good experience for them to learn and me. So that's kind of how I started doing my
Oh, that's
online.
hilarious. See, I haven't gotten into doing online teaching like that, where my students can yell at me. They don't get to yell
Oh
at
no,
me.
I don't think it's a good thing. Usually, but these they were so fresh, they didn't understand. And when you teach the same students every week for years and
Yeah.
years, they're not as respectful as those who just come on YouTube with me. So, but I don't know about you, Kevin. I really like doing Zoom better because we can see them, and with Patreon and YouTube they just text us during the lesson. I don't know about you, but we really, like my husband, I couldn't make Patreon work one day. I was having such a hard time. And so I just said, everybody come to this number and this code, and we're going to go to Zoom. So we're on Zoom. It was the cutest thing because my husband's going, "Oh, you're Teresa? Oh my gosh." And he was loving it, seeing their faces and them seeing each other. Yeah.
You know what, Donna? I haven't done it yet. I haven't done the Zoom classes. People have said, "Oh, we want you to," but I haven't done it yet. So,
Oh, you know what, Kevin? Is great. It's just a different feeling, but then you can turn around and sell it afterwards, you know? So everything I do on a Zoom, then we put it on the website and they can just purchase it afterwards and make a library and save it.
Okay, I totally see the advantage. That's cool. I'm gonna definitely look back into that.
Yeah.
Because people have asked, and if you say it works and it's fun,
Oh, it is fun. I
I
have to
see the
tell you.
advantage of correcting people live. Is you can see they're making a mistake and help them.
Yeah, and so sometimes they can show it up close to you, and if they have a decent camera, and then you can help them figure out what they're doing. But I do private lessons. I do private lessons, and it's just one-on-one, so that's kind of interesting too. It's for that person who says, I don't know about you, Kevin. I love watching you do your lessons, but when I try to teach stroke work sometimes, it's the loading the brush, and sometimes it's like the pressure. And so I make them put the camera on them and I say, paint it in front of me, and then I can help them. But in the painting industry, I would be on the shopping channel and people would say, this doesn't work and I don't know how to do this. You
Right.
have to be able, and I know you could do this, I've heard you do it. You have to be able to verbally tell them how to do it
Yes,
if you're not holding their hand or right there with them.
it's true.
And I've had a whole table of big brushes at at one of the national conventions. We were eating lunch and they go, you can't tell people how to load a brush online. And I said, yeah, you can. And so is it always perfect? You could even tell them in different languages when I'm around having translators in other countries. So, you know,
That's cool. Yep.
yeah,
No, it's true. You can. You can explain it, and you come up with the. I'm sure you've got it for the way that you load your double load and whatnot. But you get these. You get a few words that seem to really help people,
yeah,
like
yeah,
your pouncing. I have taken your pouncing and used that before, and it's helped people. With the little
yeah,
scruffy brush. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
And then I do this chop, 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 and they're going, I heard somebody go, I'm going to use that. Well, because we're just patting. I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, Kevin, but sometimes I say three or four different things when you're live, when you're with them, and all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden it's like a light bulb goes off and they go, oh, I get it. But you have to say
Yeah.
different things for different people because sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
they're just not getting it. But and then there's different ways. I mean, I have a friend that I helped, Lori Pushakowski, and I took her to all the shows when I was going to shows as my assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have a style that you can then teach and that they can comprehend. But if you're slip slapping all over the place, you do all this quick and easy, but you have a way of sharing how that's happening. And same thing with me. But so some artists, when they're trying to teach you guys out there, they still haven't figured out how to explain that to you in a method that you're going to be able to do it. But they can do it so easy. And
Right.
I know people say that about me. They go,
Yeah.
you make that look really easy, but it isn't easy. But it does, like you say, Kevin, it takes practice,
Yep.
and your first landscape might not be well, this is what I like to say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it makes you happy, it's okay. If it's not Kevin's landscape,
Right.
if it's
Mm-hmm.
not your exact, if it's not my
Mm-hmm.
exact flower, but it's a flower that they're happy with.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't know how you feel, but the problem is when you get people who just want it to look just like mine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay if it doesn't look just like mine, but you got to be happy and not a perfectionist. With mine, you don't. I'm not a perfectionist in any way, so I just like to go for it. And you know what? My brother took art school. My younger brother, they put him in a formal um, amazing artist, taught him oils. And I'm the one who makes money because I'm okay if it's not exact. And so I teach people how to make money and save money because you save money making your gifts or you
Mm-hmm.
save money painting your greeting cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how my mindset is. So
Absolutely. No, it makes such a big difference. You probably I don't know if you've heard me. I've been recently on kind of a rant about it's okay to be your own encourager and it's okay to be happy with your painting, you know?
okay. Say that again.
It's okay to be happy with your painting, and you got to be your own encourager because somebody else may not encourage you. You know what I mean? Um,
Right, that's right. Because sometimes I got myself caught a couple times in my teaching experience
mhm.
where I was sitting there and they want to learn it so bad, and I kept saying, no, 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 that's not right. And then I had the student jump up,
Mhm.
run out of the class, go to her car, just sobbing. And I realized I must have said no to that poor lady 50 times.
Wow.
I ran to her car and I'm standing at the window. I said, I am so sorry. Will you please give me another chance? That was me, me, me. And so, because of that, when I'm telling somebody that's getting more and more frustrated, the word no
Okay.
is not so good. I'm trying to say, well, let me show you another way to make that happen.
Right.
And I focus a lot on teaching teachers to be teachers.
Okay.
And so when I do, I don't know, this is a funny story. I remember reading a Society of Decorative Painters. It's a decorative painter
Mhm.
magazine. And I remember this whole page saying the 10 things that teachers never should do.
Okay.
And I'm looking at this going, oh my gosh, I do like 5 or 6 of those
Mm.
things
Oh,
bad,
wow.
but I was successful.
Yeah.
I was having lots of people, hundreds of thousands of people becoming certified and wanting me to teach them. Because I didn't follow their rules didn't mean that I didn't have a good process to teach.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
I mean, it was not that I won't be willing to change if I do something that's not right,
Mhm.
or is what they consider right.
I remember painting with my grandma, who my grandma was the one who got me into painting. And do you still sell those little cards that are laminated with steps one,
Oh
2, 3,
yeah,
and 4? You know what I'm talking?
reusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sat there with your brush and I did the 1, 2, 3, 4 as a little kid. You know, that was one of my
Really?
first experiences with painting is doing that.
That's awesome.
Yep. And you know what? If you double load the brush, you can do it.
I remember saying, Kevin, you need to do flowers. And you
Mhm.
do flowers very well, Kevin.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. They
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do them that much. I need to do them some more. How did you develop the one stroke? Now, I understand that it's developed because you have that special palette, or at least you did, the round one where you had
Yeah.
the divided paint.
Yeah. Messy.
That's the one. Yeah. Yeah. So I painted on that and it works. You divide the. So how did you develop all of that? The style that is.
Well, so what happens is the crazy thing is, I believe that if you share, you'll be blessed. But I always, when I was at those craft fairs, I would have the decorative painters. They always wear the red and white, red and white gingham skirts, and they'd walk up, and I'd tell my kids to let me know when they're coming, and I'd stop painting so they wouldn't learn my tricks and tips. But this is the thing that's crazy about that. When I wanted to just ask the booth, where do you get this and how do you do this?
Hmm.
They would not tell you anything. And I swore someday, if I ever made it in
Hmm.
success of any kind, I would share that with them. But let me tell you, when you go to share that and they come up to you and they say, where do you get these watering cans? You can do this. You don't need to do it. You don't need to buy it from her. When they would start doing that, it was really not as easy as I thought to do that. But as I came along, I was just painting on clay pots and metal. And I went to an Atlanta gift market and I saw these metalware from India, and I bought $1,000 worth wholesale, and I went to 2 shows and sold out. And so I found out they're in Orlando, so I went to them, and I said I wanted them to see what I did, and because I was excited to say, "Hey, I'm selling your stuff," because they go, "How in the world are you selling?" It was actually $1,000 a week. I'd run over there and grab from them
Hmm.
because I didn't have a lot of money, so that was a lot of money. And so they just looked at me like, "How are you doing this?" And so then I showed it to them. They sent it to China and tried to knock it off. It was so funny because some of the family members of the guy from India started working with me, and so they would tell me everything that he did along the process. And so I told you my brother was an artist. We had UCF. This guy went to UCF, University of Florida, and went to the art department and asked them to do the painting. And they took 5 hours to do something I did in 15 minutes.
Isn't that crazy?
And the reason I had to create this technique is when we did toll painting and
Hmm.
you base coat and you then went to float and shade and do
Yeah.
things on metal, it would pick it all up.
Hmm.
And so it pick up the paint and it wouldn't work
Gotcha.
with acrylics,
So it just
which
wasn't
was what I
sticking
was using.
the right way.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so I had to create a way to load the brush and put it on in one stroke and blend, shade, and highlight at the same time. So
Hmm.
because of necessity, I came up with a technique.
Isn't that
And
fascinating? Yeah.
I had my friends come and paint for me, but even my friends, I wouldn't show them my leaf because every day after I painted, I did murals at people's homes during the day. I painted all these murals and I would go to the warehouse. It used to be at my house, and I would paint every leaf, thousands of leaves. So that's when I got really good.
Okay.
But it was because I wouldn't share with them all the tricks. So then when I finally shared it, I remember crying my first book. I
Hmm.
was in this real fancy neighborhood and with people that had $1 million homes, and they were having me paint in their house. And the one of the ladies said, homeowners said, the doctor's wife down the street is she got your teaching guides and stuff, and she's painting everybody's houses now. And I called my husband. I was on the ladder and I'm crying, and I said, "Oh my gosh, they got my book. They're going to knock me off. I'm never going to have work again." And my husband said, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." I'm like, "What's amazing?" And he said that it works. They can look at your guides and your step outs and they can do it. So that's kind of how it happened.
Wow. That's so cool. That is amazing. And what a great example of, yeah, it working.
But I have to tell you, my girlfriend and I were sitting and wanting to paint a desert scene with the painting that you did for my husband and I.
Hmm.
And we just look at it, and every time we're in awe because the light hits on where the lights hit on all the cactus and the mountains, and it it isn't as easy. I keep thinking maybe I could do that, but we never have because we just sit there and look at it and get awed. But you did a little house with weeping trees on a creek or
Hmm.
something. I absolutely love that. And I tried to do a little cottage with little trees and all, but I watched you, and it does teach you. It does teach you in very small steps, and you've evolved to be pretty amazing.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
I see your big classes with all those students doing something that intricate. That's pretty amazing.
It's why I only do like two a year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I've got one coming up in Clarksville literally next week. I only do about two or maybe three a year because they're draining.
Yeah, but Kevin, being with those people
Hmm.
and watching what they do, actually watching them do the strokes. I want you to think about this:
Okay.
how much you grow from watching them, and what you have to teach them to help them finally get it
Hmm.
is something that if you just stand there and paint in front of the camera all the time, that's one thing I do, Kevin.
Hmm.
And I do it because my husband was always a builder, and he would get out there and work just as hard as a man because he's not expecting them to do something he's not willing to do.
Hmm.
So with my teachers around the country, I I say if you have 3 students, you teach 3 students. But every week that I'm in town, that I'm not traveling, and I travel less now, um, I make sure that I have, it's called a campers class because they camp out and they never leave. Not because they're in RV parks, but they come and I learn so much from them. I learn the trends. I know what colors they want to do. I know what's really hard for them. And it's all from monotonously teaching different styles and things with them till I I get better, but I learn from them, so I teach better. Not saying that you need to learn how to teach better, but I'm
I
just saying,
everybody I'm the first one to admit I'm always trying to improve 100%.
but when you're out there teaching those one-on-one in person,
Mhm.
all those people in person,
Right.
I know you see things that when you think,
Oh, I
"Oh,
do.
yeah,
That's the remember we were talking about rocks. That's why I know about the rocks. If it wasn't for the
right,
classes and for the people, I wouldn't
right,
know about the rocks because the rocks are easy. The rocks have always been easy. I've never, not any
right."
more hard than a tree or anything like that. But for whatever reason, it's the rocks.
Well, you know what my problem is? Um, I was usually used to teaching the beginner. I put the beginner's hat on, the beginning, middle, and end, but I'm all over the place. So I just think, well, they know it's Donna, and oh yeah, I forgot we got to go back and do this part. So my problem is now that people paint us so much with me, and we do oversize, and we do a watercolor look, and we do all this. The problem is I forget, and I always swore I'd never forget. I forget the beginner when I had just recently, and it slapped me in the face, just recently when somebody said to me, I thought this was for beginners, and it was labeled one stroke, um, beginner, um, I forget what I called it. Anyway, so it was this little course. It was one of those real cheap, $20, you get 2 one-hour lessons. Come try it. It's a try me class. And she said, I quit because it really wasn't beginner. You're too fast. And I feel like I've got to get it under the video, in the video, and they can stop and start it. So it's okay. But for that person who really wanted to learn as a beginner, it's like I'm not remembering them. And so I just had to record 8 new beginner lessons, but because I had 2 people in those beginner classes go, I mean, I talked them into coming to the second class, and they did sit there and still didn't paint, but I slowed my butt down. And I'm like, "Okay," because she said, "Oh, I don't want you to change anything for me. It's just me." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, that's who's important, is the one that I left behind, you know?" So I just, sometimes we need to see ourselves. And I mean, I'm teaching my teachers this all the time, but I just saw myself do something that surprised me, because my mindset isn't remembering. If I'm doing a beginner, I need to do a beginner.
Yeah, yeah, I get that because I want to try to make my stuff harder. You do that too, I'm sure.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, and and then you end up with these paintings that are crazy, and then heaven forbid you try to record it and you're trying to squish it into the time that you're trying to make your lesson. I
yeah.
get it.
I see you do those really big ones.
Yeah,
I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I did one. Actually, I probably should break that out and do it again. Um,
Well, it's because we're doing so much content, and my content, I don't know about you. You were saying you do one major thing a week, because there's a lot of prep and all to get ready for that. But my content is I'm on YouTube at least 3 times a week, and yes, and then I do I do free lessons. I do my relax and paint, and which is about 30 minutes for free. And then I do practice strokes, which are tutorials, which are my most watched. That's all on YouTube. But then I do 3 other lessons a week. So that's a lot. Um, but and then I do Patreon. Well, Patreon's once a week, but the thing is if anything else gets in the spokes, like doctor's
yeah.
appointments, or we have
Oh,
to travel somewhere, or
yep.
plaid has become the paint company has become for a week,
Hmm.
man, a world of problems.
But I want to know how do you and how have you done all of this without burning out, or have you burned out and then come back, or you know what I mean? Like get frustrated with painting and say, I've done too much?
The thing that has happened with me is I do a discipline thing to myself. I do everything I have to do to be able to do what I want to do. And so I always have these things I'm dying to paint, but I make myself do the stuff I have to get done. And so that kind of helps me because I like to just try new. And I do move around a lot and doing different. Um, this is what I did when Plaid did a booth once, and they had a big, huge, I don't know, 8 foot by 8 foot unit, and they wanted me to fill it with everything. They would come to me with mail order catalogs and say, "Can you do that look with one stroke?" And so I did an entire vignette of probably about 18 different styles, all with one stroke. And all the buyers are to come by and they go, "Okay, what's this?" And they said, "This is all one stroke." And it was a watercolor look, it was a heavy country look, it was a landscape look, it was just all kinds of styles that were popular in the industry. And so I kind of kept doing that because I'm trying to find that niche of everything that people like. And so that does make me do something like I don't want to just do the roses, the pansies, the sunflowers, and do those step by steps on those reusable teaching aids the same. I want to create something different so I'm not bored. But one thing, my daughter's really good, my Amanda, who works with me and works with my educators. She's really good at throwing things in the spokes in my wheel, where she says, "You're going to do a mystery class." I'm like,
Okay.
"What?" And so this is fun. It's like I have done classes local in my local class where I say, "Okay, I'm not telling you what we're painting today, and you guys guess it as we paint." And so I have just done 4 or 5 of those. And they pay to come take the class. I tell them what colors, and they have no idea what we're painting. And I may they guess as we go along. So Amanda and I try to find things that are going to trick them, that they're not going to get it. Like I did hydrangeas on the back, like a background, and they thought it was a hydrangea painting. Then I painted 2 stumps in front, and they're like, "What?" Like it's outside and it's dark. And so then I put a mason jar on top of each one, and they go, "Oh, it's going to be candles," because I said something about light. And so I said, "Yeah, but there's another light." And do you know, somebody right then, before I get any further than painting the candles with the light and all, they
Mhm.
said, "Fireflies." I'm
Oh,
like,
cool.
how in the heck did you know that? So I did little fireflies. So that was just kind of
Wow.
something different. But the thing is I do try to make harder things.
Mhm.
But it just beats us up, and it beats them up because I want them to see what they could evolve to. I know that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a question for an oil painter,
Mhm.
landscape artist. Why do I know it must be fine art or something? Why do you, when I've been in Paris and all kinds of places, and I go up to the painting, from a distance, it looks like all these beautiful little leaves and everything, but from a distance, I mean, when you come up close, they're not defined. They're just, I don't understand, why do you not define them when you're up close?
It's almost like an illusion, optical illusion of busyness, of where I think your eye fills in. This is what I think. I looked a lot at the Hudson Valley artists. You remember them? The old, what was, I can't remember the names right now. I'm horrible with art history or anything like that. But they would just have, like you said, these smudges. But then it's almost like a mosaic, like a mosaic tile wall, where it looks like nothing until you back up, and then it's just your eye blends it together. And I think it's the illusion of, I think that I'm looking over at trees, and all they are smudges. My comma strokes, they're just smudges. And I think your brain, at about the 6 foot viewing distance, just kind of fills it in. I think
That's
that's why.
awesome.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Cool.
I never thought that, but I was confused because I'm
Okay.
like, I don't understand. But that
That's
makes sense. That
yeah.
makes sense.
That's a good question because see, I had to stop and think because you do things and you don't know, you don't think about why you do them. You just do them. Yeah.
Well, people that I know that have gone to SCADs and different art schools, they sit there and they go, "Oh, I know how to do it. I bring my brushes." And so they come, and even the kids in the room know how to double load and stuff. And so it's been so funny because I've had a couple of them in the past, and they take their brushes slowly and put them in their bag, and they said in all that school they never learned how to do what we're teaching them. Like they learn in a different manner, and so that surprises me, because being able to load a brush is pretty important.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like a double loaded. I mean, you use double, triple loaded brushes all the time. I like a double loaded brush for tree limbs and stuff where it's kind of hard to get back in there
Yeah,
and accurately. I mean, you can do it. I can do it on a video in 2 seconds. You know,
yeah.
and there's a definite advantage to that. But no, oh, you see people agonize over each stroke. It's tough. I don't. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's like portraits. That's tough. One day maybe, but it's tough.
Well, I painted Christ,
Did you?
and I look at it, and my girlfriend took a class.
Mm-hmm.
Lori did. She took a portrait class, and I'm like, um, I thought I was going to go insane. I was a very bad student. I'm like, no, that looks bad. No, that's not right. No. And she goes, all I know is this what they told me that I'm sorry. And I said, well, that looks dumb. And I made a clown nose and I tried to fix it. And so I make it, I say, oh, this is bad and this is bad. My husband said, don't ever say that again, because we put it in the foyer, and as people walked in, they would go, oh my gosh. But then I'd tell them all my mistakes. And so now I'm just very quiet, but they want me to teach it, but that's not my thing. But you know what? I can paint an entire wall, borders around a room, 10 foot high, but I have to tell you, um, there are some things that I shouldn't teach because I could do all those in less than a day, even a half a day. And I have to tell you, I took at least 5 sessions, 3 to 4 hours each. That I never do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, but I'm proud of it now. But I look at it and I told my husband just last night, I go, I don't think I could ever paint that again.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever paint that again.
Oh wow. No, I totally get it with the 4 or 5 sessions at 4 hours. Is that's kind of about what I painted miles, and I'm not 100% even happy with that one. Um, Maybe getting a better lighting, like maybe a real portrait, like a photo with good lighting, with the Rembrandt lighting or something, instead of just this cell phone picture. That could help maybe.
Greg Olson, I love his
I've
look.
heard that name, but
He's a very good religious artist,
okay,
Greg Olson. And he would call me once and ask me, how do you get on this and how do you get on that? And it
nice,
reminded me of you calling me. And I'm
yeah,
like, I have not his actual paintings, but G. Clay's or whatever.
yeah.
I said, I have your paintings in my house and you're calling me. I was like amazed.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta say, yeah, the way that you were so supportive of me in the beginning was so encouraging. It really was.
Um,
It was so
well,
encouraging.
and then you sent me your painting and I was like,
Well, I
I
was just
feel,
happy that you were like happy to like that was so cool. I've told people that Donna Dewberry has one of my paintings in her house.
yeah,
For me, and it's true for you probably too, I'm sure, is the painting is nothing but a byproduct. It's the physical paint, the canvas is nothing but a byproduct. Because without the videos, without the Patreon, without the YouTube, without the DVDs, nobody's gonna see it. Nobody's gonna care. So
yeah.
I know you got the same deal where it's yeah, yeah, it's
Well, I'm
interesting.
trying to grow my audience. I got, every time I think I know what I'm doing, I think I'm at 150, almost 159,000
Nice. I see the play
subscribers.
button in the on the top there. That's great. Plaque. Yeah.
Yeah, but then after that, I think you have to do a ton before you ever see it. I am not near as professional as you are with your type of art, but what I'm mostly worried about is or concerned about is if they're seeing it and the
Mm-hmm.
light halfway decent.
Yeah.
And I've grown a lot, so I am a lot better than I was. And I've gotten new technology
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But I learned a lot of that from Plaid too.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
when I'm there filming all the time and all the guys help me.
Right.
I say, tell me what I need for this. The only thing I just cannot, the most effective use of your time. I know what I know, and that's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
So doing a switcher, forget it.
Yeah.
Because I make myself out when you were saying you're going to be a few minutes, I was thinking, when I say that to my people, that means it's not letting me in, and I have no idea how to get in.
To be fair, it wasn't recognizing my webcam. So,
Yeah. So I'm saying, what did I do wrong? And my tech person, she said, who's a dear friend who works for me all the time, she says, did you restart your computer? Did you do this? And I've said, I did everything. But then you never know.
that's so
So
funny. That's awesome.
anyway.
Well, Donna, this has been amazing. This has been super fun. I didn't even mean to take up this much of your time. So let's tell people how we can get, how they can get a hold of your classes, your Patreon. I'll put everything in the description. But what's the best way for people to start with your techniques?
Okay, what I'd love for you to do is come and join my Facebook group, which is Donna Dewberry's with an S official one stroke group, because there's a lot of one stroke groups and they even use my name. So the official one stroke group, and it is a private group, and you only have to answer 2 questions, but those 2 questions make us know that you're real. So, and it's all about one stroke. So it's not confusing. We don't, we really kind of stick to that so you can share, and you amazing help. We've got a beautiful group. I think we got like almost 40,000 on there, and they all love one stroke and they love to help you. And then I've got my YouTube. It's the Donna Dewberry channel. And I would love for you to subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I'm popping on. I've started doing new lives, usually kind of on a Saturday when I'm in town. And I give you discounts and stuff on there. But the important thing is I do a relax and paint as you're learning. It's a really easy lesson on Wednesdays, and on Fridays, they're tutorials. And that's my most watched because I'm teaching you the loading process, how to use the tools, how to use mediums, short, quick, ways to binge and learn one stroke technique. I got a lot of people you can tell are from other countries because they call me ma'am. Hey, ma'am, tell me how to start this. Tell me where to begin. So I tell them to go and begin practice strokes at the beginning because it tells you the tools and loading and how to use brushes. So I'd love to have you guys come join and see what we're doing. Our Patreon is Mark and Donna, M-A-R-C, Mark and Donna Dewberry. It's the painting world of Mark and Donna Dewberry. So if you just hit Dewberry, I'll probably take you there. But all of this information, Kevin, is on my YouTube. If you look about Donna, and I'll tell you.
Great. I'll grab it and I'll put it in the description and people will easily land there. Cool.
Well,
Well,
thank you. I feel
thank
honored.
you. This is
I
fun.
remember you in the beginning, and
Yeah.
I watched your family. I, by the way, have 7 children, but by the way, I have 31 grandchildren
Mm.
now, and I'm getting ready to have my 6th great grandchild. So
Wow, that's exciting.
we always need teachers. So if you're ever interested in learning how to paint, how to teach, check us out.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll talk sooner than later.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
Bye.
Kevin. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that. I thought that was super fun. We're going to be doing some more of these. I've got some other guests lined up. So if you're interested, be sure to just be on the lookout for those. Check out Donna's information there in the description, and I'll see you in the next painting video. Thanks for watching.